You already know that awakening is never a personal process. It is not possible for you to be awakened, but for your neighbor not to be. It is not possible for the so-called good people in the world to be awakened and the so-called bad people in the world not to be. Awakening is a collective process. It is the collective consciousness that awakens. And what does it mean to be awakened? What does it really mean? Does it mean that your hurdles and challenges shall miraculously disappear? No, they shall not. For you have taken birth on earth in order to enjoy this roller coaster ride of ups and downs and twists and loops, and moments when you crash, when your stomach seems to come into your mouth, when you scream and shout, sometimes in fear and other times in delight. You paid to be on this roller coaster ride. So your hurdles and your challenges and these twists and loops and drops and sudden rises shall continue. But when you are awakened, you know without a shadow of doubt that around you, or you might wish to consider this as within you, there is a cloak, a coat, a shield, not an armor, nothing that keeps others out, but a cloak that keeps your peace within. It does not let your peace go out and be fragmented. And when life throws a particularly soggy, wet blanket upon you and your plans, yes, there is some reaction. But you instantly know that that soggy, wet blanket can do nothing to you, because between you and that blanket is that cloak of peace. And that realization is awakening. When you look around and you see all the different faces and all the varied facets of the human stage, you are aware of your uniqueness. You are aware of your separation. But in your awakening, you are simultaneously aware of your connection. We have spoken to you earlier about the ocean and the waves. Awakening makes you simultaneously aware, makes you simultaneously experience the wave and the ocean. You know there is separation, but you know there is none. And you came onto this earth to experience this in a non-awakened state. You were only aware of the wave. You could not see the ocean. Some intellectually recognized the fact that for there to be a wave, there would have to be an ocean. But that was only intellectual reasoning. As the collective consciousness has awakened, there is a far deeper knowing of this truth. And we reiterate, no one can be awakened in exclusivity of all your experiences on earth. Awakening is the most inclusive, all embracing. For what awakens is consciousness itself. And you begin to see the connection between you as a separate self and all others who are separate selves. You begin to see the connection between you and the ocean. You are very aware of yourself as the wave, but you're also very aware of yourself as the ocean. The collective consciousness has awakened. But the ego has to still catch up. There is no collective consciousness of the ego. The ego is a very personal thing. Only spirit is collective. Ego cannot be collective. It needs to be personal in order to give you a self-identity. And this is important because your visit to planet Earth requires you to experience your identity, requires you to experience your identity as separate from the identities of all. But your visit to Earth also requires you to experience your self-identity in the much larger context of the collective, of the consciousness. And neither can be escaped from. The collective consciousness awakens and remembers very gently as the veils are removed from your personal ego. Very gently as the veils are removed from individual egos around the world. The collective consciousness remembers its connection, and most importantly remembers that there is no time and there is no space. And as it remembers this, it still allows the ego to function in the past, present, and future. It still permits the ego to function in the here and the there. But there is one very radical shift. The ego functions in the space permitted to it, in the time permitted to it by the collective consciousness, by connections to all. And so this month, whatever you shall experience on this roller coaster that is coming for you, which you have joyfully accepted to ride upon, before you embark upon your day, before you step out of your home, before you start upon your daily work and your chores, check if the cloak of inner peace is well in place, check that there are no cuts or holes, no frayed ends, no small openings. If they are, mend them there and then. And then place your supreme confidence in this cloak and step into your day. You shall be amazed when you experience the miracle of detachment, not insensitivity, not indifference, detachment. What are you most attached to? You might answer that it is your family, or your career, your vocation, your home, maybe your religion, your community, your friends. But we tell you that you are not as attached to any of these as you are attached to your beliefs. This cloak of inner peace brings to you detachment from your beliefs. I am, he is, she isn't, they are, they won't, they can't, I can't. So many beliefs. The cloak of inner peace shatters none of these beliefs. It just helps you to place a distance between you and the beliefs. And when there is this distance between you and beliefs, the past loses its ability to enslave you, and the future loses its power to worry you. And when neither past nor future can enslave you or make you filled with fear and dread, then there is only one thing left to do. Live now. Make this moment as full as you can. And then this moment is filled with the joyous abandonment of being the wave and the calm fullness of being the ocean. Then the world around you becomes like the thrilling outing with friends to see a movie. And when the lights become dim and someone else projects onto that screen a story that they desire you to believe in, you willingly go along for that ride. And you laugh, and you scream, and you cringe, and you cry. Every moment becomes as real as your life outside the theater. And this is exactly what that person who is projecting this onto the screen wants you to believe, that it is real. And you believe this only till the lights are dim. When the light comes on, you look around at all your friends and you smile, because you have all had the same experience of enjoying a thrilling, exciting, emotion-filled movie. But at the end of it, with the lights on, you are ready to go home again, together. That is awakening. And the one common purpose that we spoke of at the onset is this. The awakening is proceeding. We might even dare to use the word marvelously. The ego needs to catch up. And that is where you come in. The ego has to catch up. What you are experiencing, what you are witnessing in the world around you, what you are witnessing as corruption, as manipulation, as exploitation, as unfairness, lack of justice, bigotry, all of this exists because the ego has not caught up. Now remember, we have already said the ego can never be a collective energy. It is personal. But you and others like you, many, many, many others like you, can certainly help individual egos to catch up. The coming weeks lend themselves extremely well for this. The planets shall help you by adding their strength to you, by adding their strength to your endeavor. So, on the one hand, you shall allow yourself to manifest the accelerated closing up of the distance between individual egos and collective consciousness. And on the other hand, you shall resolve to keep your focus upon the cloak of inner peace. Chaos is necessary. But remember, it is only because the lights have been dimmed that you are believing that what is on that screen is chaos. When the lights are turned on and you look around, all is exactly as it is to be. All are occupying their positions, their roles, their seats in this theater. The chaos is only playing itself out of that stage. In the theater where all are seated exactly where they must be seated, there is no chaos. We are not here to tell you or to presume to know how each one of you individually shall do the task that you, the ocean, know must be done. The ocean has to make itself heard. It must roar loudly so that the waves hear it. You are standing at an extremely important crossroad. And the weeks to come shall place everyone in exactly the places, roles, and functions they must be in. Comment at nothing. It is what it must be. The end of this year sees the end of an old, tired, worn out phase of evolution. And with 2021, a very, very long new phase of evolution begins. The crossroads that you are at shall determine how quickly or not humanity shall find evidence in daily life of this new phase. It is a phase of service, of human progress. It is a phase when religion gives way to spiritual understanding. It is a phase when me concedes to we. You can make this happen more swiftly. But we repeat, there cannot be a shadow of doubt. You must know that what you are aiding is a quickening and a shortening of the distance between ego and spirit consciousness. Awakening is not about giving up meat and becoming vegan and not using plastic. All of this is important, yes. But it is not about awakening. All of this is important from the point of view of respect and value of each other. You are unique. But you must respect this one fact, that your uniqueness would have remained covered in the shrouds of mediocrity were it not for the thousands and thousands of people who you know or you do not, but who have helped you to recognize your uniqueness, so that in doing so you might recognize the uniqueness of others. So when you teach your children that they are special and they are unique, which you must teach them, teach them to respect and value the efforts of all those who have made their uniqueness shine forth. When you recognize, respect, and value, your ego moves forward towards the collective consciousness. Create a space where the pillars of the ego can shatter. You must support that. You must encourage that. You must aid that. You must propel that forward. For out of the disease shall come health. Out of the financial crisis shall come abundance. Out of the political unrest shall come significant reorganization and restructuring. But there is a huge blanket of energy around you. From the planets, from the Ashtar command, from the White Brotherhood, and from the angelic realms. You are not alone. You have never been alone. Enjoy the radiance of the light.